Hello all, welcome to another session in this course. As part of this session, I'm going to cover the next topic in this JavaScript, that is functions. So let's get started. So what is the topic? JavaScript functions, okay? Or functions in JavaScript. The topic is functions in JavaScript language. So what exactly are these functions? What exactly are these functions? What exactly are these functions? Function is nothing but, okay? Function is nothing but a block of code, okay? Block of code which can perform some task, okay? Or to perform some task. Otherwise, you can say function is nothing but a block of code, okay? To perform some task. To perform some task. This is what is a function. Okay, in this function we can put some block of code which can do some task. Okay, that's what is a function. That's what is a function. What is the purpose of the functions and all I'll cover later. Okay, at this point of time I'm only explaining what exactly the function, but why we need functions and all I didn't cover it. I'm just explaining what exactly is a function. Function is nothing but a block of code. The syntax of the function will be something like this. There is a keyword known as function keyword. Okay. In JavaScript, if you want to create a function, you have to use this keyword known as function keyword followed by the name of the function. Okay. Let's say sample fun. Okay. Sample fun is the name of the function. And you have to give this circular brackets and this curly brace for start of the function. Here curly brace for ending of the function. In between this, starting of the function and end, this is starting of the function, guys. This starting curly brace and this is the ending of the function, and this is a function. Function name of the function is sample fun, which should be followed by circular brackets. Here you can write any number of statements, guys. For example, this is statement one, statement statement one, okay, statement two, code statement two. Then this is statement statement 3 and so on. Okay, it can have any number of lines of code. Okay, what is a function, guys? Function is nothing but this function is nothing but a block of code. Is this a block of code, yes or no? Is this particular thing that I have selected here in this particular function thing is nothing but a block of code? Okay, statement 1, statement 2, statement 3 lines of code is nothing but block of code. Okay, a block of code is nothing but a function. Okay, and this is a keyword which is required in JavaScript in order to create the function. If you want to create a function in JavaScript, you have to use this function keyword followed by the function name and give the circular brackets and starting of the function, ending of the function, and this block this function will have some block of code. Okay, so this word is exactly is a function, guys. Okay, so what is a function? Function is nothing but a block of code to perform. Okay, using this block of code some task can be performed. Okay, using this group of code or block of code some task will be done by the function. Okay, so in that cases we'll be generally creating a function, guys. Okay, so but what is the purpose of the functions I'll cover later. For now, understand what is a function. Function is nothing but a block of code to perform some task. Okay, when you run this function some task will be performed by this function. Okay, to create the function we need the function keyword followed by the function name. That's it. Okay, so now let's understand about the functions in a detailed manner, guys. Okay, so I'll just open these notes, guys, just for reference. I have these notes with me. Okay, without these notes also I can explain, but I would like to keep this particular notes as a reference. So these are the notes. What is a function, guys? Function in JavaScript is nothing but a block of code which is created. Okay, this function is created to perform a specific task. To perform some task, function will be created and function will contain a block of code. Okay, function is nothing but a block of code. Okay, created or designed, okay, to perform some task. That's what is a function. Okay, don't worry about what is the purpose of the function and all those stuff we'll cover later. But for now, how to create a function? Function keyword we have to use and name of the function followed by circular bracket, starting of the function, ending of the function, and this particular thing is a block of code. Okay. So let me practically show you how to create the functions and how to work with the functions, guys. Okay. Till now, till the previous sessions, I have not created any function, guys. Okay. Till now, you see the code has been written directly under the JavaScript file. Let a is equal to 5, let b is equal to 4, and all the statements are written directly, right? So what I'll do here is I'll just delete this files. Okay, I don't need these files anymore. So let me delete all these JavaScript files which I have used in previous sessions for demonstration. Let me delete all those things and create a new new file known as fun1.js. Okay, here I want to I can write the code. Basically, I can write the code, but what I want to do is I want to create a function, guys. Okay, how to create a function? Which keyword I have to use? Function keyword I have to use. Okay, these are predefined keyword in JavaScript using which we can create the functions. Followed by this function keyword which JavaScript recognizes. We need to give the name of the function, guys. Okay, name of the function we have to give sample. Sample1 is the name of the function. Let's say I'm giving the name of the function as sample1. And this function name should be followed by circular brackets, guys. Okay, if I have to create this function name followed by circular brackets, and this is starting of the function, and this is starting of the function, and this is ending of the function. This is starting of the function, this is the ending of the function. Function name, circular brackets, starting of the function and ending of the function. Starting of the function and ending of the function. Function name, circular brackets, starting of the function and ending of the function. Now in this, you can write any number of lines of code. It can be one line, it can be multiple lines, doesn't matter, guys. Okay. Let me write some print statements. Here you can write some real code, but for now, okay, I'm writing only the print statements if required. Okay. In the coming sections of these sessions, right, I'll be writing the real code. But for now, let me write the print statement console.log inside sample1. Okay, function. Like this, I'll write. Okay. So, like this, if I write, and here, if I run this code, that is node space, name of the JavaScript file and extension fun1.js. Fun1.js and press enter. What is happening? Did you get any output, guys? Did you get any output? The code, the block of code which is there inside this function got executed or not? When I have run this particular JavaScript file, is any output I got? Node fun1.js, any output I got, guys? I didn't get any output, guys. You see, when I say console.log inside sample1 function, nothing got printed. This particular print statement didn't get executed. The reason behind that is, you see, if this console.log is, okay, it's not part of a function, or if it is directly written like this, you see, when I run this, you see, this print statement is getting executed. But what if this particular print statement is part of the function? This line won't be executed because the function is not getting executed. How to run this function code? How to run this function code, guys? Let me clear it. Okay. Here, if I run this like this, you see, output is not coming. But how to run this function code or the block of code which is there in this function, how to run? By default, the functions will not run. Okay. The block of code which is there inside the function will not run by default. If you really want to run, you need to call this method, guys. How to call this method? Sample one, and give the circular brackets and put a semicolon. This is what is a function calling statement. What is this, guys? This is called as function calling statement. If you don't call the function code will not run. The function will not run. The the code inside the function won't run if you don't call it. If you call it only, the function and the code inside the function will run. Okay. Now, let me clear this. Run this, you see. Now the code inside the function. When I'm calling this function, okay, when you are running this code, when the execution reaches this fifth line, sample1, okay, which is nothing but this part, guys. Copy this function name and circular brackets and just simply put a semicolon symbol to close the function, okay. When you write this line, this will call this particular function. When the function is called using this function calling statement, the code inside the function will be executed. That is, inside sample1 function will get printed here, okay. Now, is this particular function will run only one time? Can be called only one time? Can I call this function only one time? No, you can call it any number of times. If I call the function again, like sample1 for second time, this is another function calling statement. Okay, similar to the first one, this is another function calling statement. Okay, no matter how many times I call this function, like sample1, 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 sample1. Okay, clear? If I run this code, you see, inside sample1 function, inside sample1 function, inside sample1 function, inside sample1 function, inside sample1 function. 5 times the print statement got printed. Okay, when you are calling the function, every time you call, the code inside the function got executed, and when the code inside the function get executed, here in this example, inside sample1 statement will get printed. Okay, like that, inside sample1, inside sample1, inside sample1, inside sample1, inside sample1 will get printed. Okay, there is no rule that you need to call the function only once. You can call the same function any number of times. Okay, now let me clear this out. Now what are the other things about the function? Here, whatever the function I created, does it have any parameters here? Is it intaking any data here? No. Circular brackets are empty. This function, okay, is not intaking any data because these circular brackets are empty. but I can put some parameters inside the circular brackets. Okay, I can put some parameters. For that, I'll just let me also go through the reference just to cross check that nothing is going wrong, guys. Okay, just to cross check that nothing is going wrong or I'm not forgetting anything. I'll generally do like that. Okay, so this normal one. Okay, this is a function calling statement. Okay, now parameters only. Okay, the next one is a parameters. The next one is a parameters. Let me create another function fun2.js. So here I'm going to create another function, guys. Okay, here I'll be creating one more function, that is fun function is a keyword followed by demo one. Demo one is a function name followed by circular brackets starting of the function, ending. This is a curly brace is the starting of the function, ending curly brace is the ending of the function. Function name, circular bracket starting of the function and ending of the function. Now function name, circular brackets. Here how many parameters are there? Zero parameters, right? Here zero parameters are there. What if I write, okay, what if I give some name like, uh, name. Okay, if I give some parameter like name, this name that I have written here is one of the parameter. Okay, only one parameter is there inside this function, that is a name. Okay, so here whenever you call this particular function, I want to do something like this. Okay, console.log welcome plus name. Okay, this plus symbol already covered in the previous session, right? String concatenation. Okay, this here string literal, plus symbol on the left side of the plus symbol, operand is string literal, and the name is also a string. Name can be anything. Okay, welcome name means the resultant will be a string literal, and this plus will act like a concatenation operator instead of the addition operator. Now, guys, now since this earlier this particular function doesn't have any parameters, the circular brackets used to be empty in the previous example, but now this particular function has one parameter. How to call this function? If I run this code, nothing will be running, guys. Okay, fun2.js, nothing will get printed here, you see, because the block of code which is there inside the function will be executed only when you call the function. How to call the function? Using the function calling statement. How to call the function calling statement? Copy the name of the function here and put circular brackets and put a semicolon here. Now, will this work? Will this work, guys? Let's try this out. Will this work? What is happening? Yes, it is working. It's calling the function. But what is the problem? It's calling the function. The function is getting the block of code inside the function is getting executed, but welcome space, what is coming here in place of the name? Undefined is coming because you are not passing any data. Okay, to this particular parameter, the method is ready to intake the data, but in the method calling statement, you are not passing the data. Okay, this name is called as a parameter, guys. Okay, this name is called as a parameter. Technically, this name here, one parameter is there inside this function declaration. That is name is one parameter, and here if one parameter is there, if you don't pass any data, okay, JavaScript will assign undefined thing. Okay, if you are not passing anything, it will become undefined. Okay, what if I pass something like, for example, I will pass my name like a string literal name I will pass. Okay, in this case, what will happen? If I run this code, you see, welcome space, whatever the data I am passing to this parameter is getting printed here. Okay, so when you call this particular function, this Arun motor will go and store into the name parameter, and here you are inside the function, you are utilizing that name parameter, and here welcome space plus whatever the data that you have passed to the name parameter, that is Arun motor will be printed. That's why welcome Arun motor will be printed. Okay, this is what happens, guys. This is what happens, and this particular data, okay, that you are passing from the function calling statement is called as an argument. Okay, argument. It is an argument. The data that you are passing to the function calling statement and that will go and store into the parameter of the function is called as an argument, and this the variable kind of thing that is provided in the circular brackets of the function declaration is called as a parameter, and the data that you are passing to this parameter is called as an argument. Okay, so whenever I call this method, whenever I call this function, whatever the argument I will pass, that will be taken, and accordingly the function will work. For example, if I call this function again, yes, I can do, and this time I'll pass Varun Dawat. Okay, and here another argument is there, guys. Okay, a different argument I am passing here compared to the first one. I'm calling the same function two times. So first welcome Arun motor will be printed, then welcome Varun Dawat should be printed. So let's see what is happening. You see, welcome Arun motor and welcome Varun Dawat got printed. Okay, so this is what is a parameterized function. But here, how many parameters are there? In this parameterized function, how many parameters are there? Only one parameter is there. Is it that only one parameter should be there in functions? No, we can have any number of parameters, guys. So I'll explain one more example here, which has multiple parameters. So here only one parameter I have explained, okay? But you can have any number of parameters, guys, okay? So let me create a function which has multiple parameters, fun3.js. And here I would like to create a function add. Add is the name of the function. Here a comma b, starting of the function, ending of the function. Here two parameters are there. Here what I will write, okay? Here I will say sum of a and sum is, otherwise sum is plus circular bracket, or you can write the logic also, okay? Let c is equal to a plus b, okay? Or let sum is equal to, a plus b. Here you can say plus sum. This particular variable sum, you have to, sum is a, sum is plus sum, okay? Like this you can add. Now I can create one more function subtraction, okay? Subtraction a comma b or x comma y, anything you can give as any names you can give. You can even give a comma b also here, not a problem. And here, okay, here I'll write let result is equal to x minus y. Result is equal to x minus y. Okay, console.log. Okay, subtraction is plus result plus this particular variable result. Okay, like this you can create any number of functions, guys. You can create any number of functions. But here, how many parameters are there? Two parameters. Here also how many parameters? You can have two, three. There is no limit for how many number of parameters. According to your function requirements, you can have any number of parameters created here. Okay, but when I call this function add, okay, if I directly call like this, a will be storing undefined, b will be storing undefined, and undefined plus undefined is equal to undefined, and sum is undefined or something will come, guys. Okay, instead of that, if you pass the data, like 1 comma 2, if I pass 1 comma 2, what will happen? 1 will go into a, 2 will go into b, 1 plus 2 is 3, sum will become 3, sum is 3 will be printed. Okay, now if I say sub 5 comma 1, 5 comma 1, if I say 5 comma 1 sub, okay, this function will be called, and here 5 will go here and 1 will go here. 5 minus 1 is 4, result will be 4. Okay, now let's run this code. fun3.js, fun3 dot, sorry, I just made a mistake. fun3.js. Okay, you see, sum is 3. And this is a function calling statement, and it's passing, there are two arguments here, okay? Here, two arguments are there, two arguments. Why I'm passing two arguments? Because here, two parameters are there. A and B are the parameters. Two parameters are there, okay? In the function declaration, there are two parameters separated by comma symbol. You see, first parameter is separated by comma symbol. If you have multiple parameters, you have to separate each and every parameter with a comma symbol, okay? Here also two parameters are there. And here also, since there are two parameters, if you pass two arguments, they will be passed to the respective parameters. Here also two arguments, that is two data that is passed. So 5 will go into the x and 1 will go in and 4 will be printed. You see subtraction is 4 is something you will get in the result. Okay. So this is how we can create functions in JavaScript, guys. This is how we can create functions okay, in JavaScript. And the next thing, the final thing that I will be covering as part of, you see, I don't have to cover too deep about this functions topic. I don't have to cover the things in very depth. Okay, whatever I'm covering will be more than enough. A lot of advanced or additional topics will be there. But don't worry about when the right time comes, I'll explain all the things about other things. But for now, what exactly is a function, how to call the function. Function can have a single parameter, function can have more than one parameter or any number of parameters. Now, the last topic for this session is, okay, here till now guys, the functions are, okay, in the first example when I have taken, functions are not intaking any data, neither in the function calling statement you are not passing any data, or this particular function is not intaking any data. But if you go to the function 2, this particular function is intaking one single data, it's intaking. But is this function returning anything back to the function calling statement? After running the code inside the function, is this particular function returning anything back to the function calling statement which has called and because of which it got executed? No, right? So this function is not returning anything back to the function calling statement. Only the function calling statement is passing this argument to this parameter. But in return, function is not returning anything to this function calling statement till now, right? In whatever the examples I have taken, here two parameters are intaking these two arguments in this function. But is this particular function returning anything back to the function calling statement? No. But can functions do that? Can functions return something back to the function calling statements? Yes, it is possible, guys. I'll just demonstrate this. This is the last one for functions, guys. So here, let me create a function, guys. Function. I'll just write add, okay, a comma b, starting of the function, ending of the function, starting of the function, ending of the function. Here I'll say let sum is equal to, okay, let sum is equal to a plus b, okay. Now this is a function name, parameters, okay. If I write like this, okay, for example, if I write like this, sum, okay. When I call this function like add of 3 comma 4, if I call, what will happen? Okay, this is a function calling statement. It will call this function and the block of the code which is there inside the function will be called, and 3 will go into A and 4 will go into B, and 3 plus 4 will be 7. 7 will go into the sum. And when you write console.log, here 7 will be printed here. Okay, but is this function returning anything back to the function calling statement? Remember a situation where you have attended an event or birthday party or some kind of event conducted by your friends and family members. Okay, whenever you go to their function, right, what you will do, you will try to give a gift, right? Okay, let's say this is you who is attending this particular function. Okay, this is you are invited as a guest to this particular function connected by your friends or some circles. Okay, while going to the function, right, you have taken this particular gifts, you want to present these gifts. 3 and 4 are the gifts. That gifts are taken by the people who are conducting the, who are organizing that function or who are celebrating that function. Okay, the people who are celebrating that function are intaking your gifts. Okay, whatever the gifts you brought, right, they have collected it. A is taking 3 and B is taking 4 and all those stuff. 3 plus 4 is 7, all those stuff, and here 7 got printed. But you see, sometimes in India, and most of the cases, right, in tradition, in Indian tradition and all, what generally happens is whenever you attend a function with some gifts, they will take the gifts, and also in return they will give some gifts known as return gifts. Okay, have you heard about this concept? When you attend some functions in India, okay, the people who are you are celebrating the function to celebrate their happiness with you, and as a token of appreciation or happiness that you have attended their function, they want to give some return item, okay, as a gift. Okay, since you attended my function, I want to give you some gift, okay, as a memory of that, or as celebration of or happiness in which you have attended my function. Okay, that is one of the norm that people are doing. But here you attended this function as a guest. This is a function calling statement. Is a guest has attended this function and has taken these gifts. The gifts are utilized by these people who are celebrating this function, and they are not returning anything back. They are not giving any return gift back. Okay, but what if I say they give some return gift? Okay, so here if I run this code, first of all, if I run this code, you see 7 is getting printed. Okay, the sum 7 is getting printed. Instead of that, instead of printing here, what I can do is I can make this function return something back to the function calling statement. For that, I have to use a keyword known as return keyword. Remember, guys, remember in one of the previous session where I was explaining about the JavaScript basics, and in the JavaScript basics, in the case of flow control statements, in the flow control statements, the last statement is transfer statements, break, continue, were the two items I already have demonstrated as part of this session in the previous sessions, right? Along with that, I also covered, okay? Along with that, I also mentioned that there are two more important transfer statements in JavaScript apart from break and continue. They are return and throw, okay? Two more are there. I told you that I'll explain about the return keyword here, return transfer statement here in JavaScript when the time comes. Now, when I'm explaining about the functions, the time has come. So return is one of the transfer statement, okay, transfer flow control statement in JavaScript, guys. Okay, transfer flow control statement in JavaScript which I am using here. Return is a keyword which is a one of the transfer JavaScript statement. After return, I'll simply say sum. Okay, that means whatever the result of this a plus b, that is sum. Okay, that is 7, right? That 7 will be returned as a result, okay, as a written by the function to the function calling statement. Okay, now if I run this code, what will be the output? Will the 7 will be printed? Here 3 will go into A, 4 will go into B when I call this function, and 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 will be stored into sum, and this particular function is returning 7, and that 7 value is returned back to the function calling statement. But is this function calling statement doing anything with that returned value 7 here? Is anything, any operation this particular function calling statement is doing on the returned value that is 7 by this function to this return calling statement? No, right? I'll simply say node. Okay, run this code, you will see no output will come. Okay, you see no output. The reason behind that is This function is actually returning the sum of these two variables back to the function calling statement. But this calling statement is not utilizing that. How to utilize that? Here I have to say let result is equal to, or r is equal to whatever you want, right? Okay, whatever the value that is written by this function with the help of the return statement will be returned to this function, and that will be assigned to the r. And if I write r here, if I print r here, what will be printed? Okay, 3 plus 4. Here 3 plus 4, 7. 7 will be returned to the function calling statement. 7 will come here. 7 will be stored into r, and when you print r, 7 will be printed, guys. Okay, you see, 7 got printed. Other way is that if instead of doing like this, guys, instead of doing like this, okay, when you're you can directly do like this, console.log directly call the function inside the print statement itself. That is 3 comma 4, like that you say. Okay, instead of calling this function and storing the result into the variable and then writing a separate print statement for printing r, right? Instead of that, console.log directly call the function here itself. What will happen? When you call this function in the print statement, add of 3 comma 4, 3 will go into a and 4 will go into b, and 3 plus 4 will become 7. 7 will be stored into sum, and this function will return the 7 back to the function calling statement. Where is the function calling statement? This is the thing. Okay, here 7 will come. 7 will be returned by the function, and since console.log of 7 means 7 will be printed. Just see here, 7 will be printed. So functions can return the data also. Only one data it can return. You can have any number of parameters, but only one value it can return back to the function calling statement. So there are functions which doesn't have any parameters. There are functions which can have a parameter. There are functions which can have multiple, more than one parameters limit, endless. There's no particular limit. And also when you call a function can return the data back to the function calling statement also. Okay, using the return keyword. Okay. So this result of this a plus b will be returned back to the function calling statement, and that you can store into the variable or directly print them in the console.log. Okay. And many other advanced concepts of functions are there, guys, but at this point of time, I'm not going to cover them. I'll definitely cover them to you in the upcoming sessions. Okay. So guys, that's all for this session. Okay. Hope you have understood what exactly are functions and how to use them in JavaScript language. Okay. So in the next session, I'm going to cover about the local and global variables in JavaScript. Till then, see you. Bye bye.